Shalom Israel. First and foremost, want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakadash, double honor to the apostles, and else great millstone, for teaching us his true peace and blessings, to the hope collective Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Hanifa language in Hebrew, Bahashem means the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in our lesson, and today we're going to go into these bank collapses that we are seeing, especially the Silicon Valley Bank, and I believe there's 3 others, and now you're also starting to see problems occurring with the smaller banks. So you're seeing things progressively getting worse for Babylon the Great, aka America. This place is crumbling, man. So I do have 2 quick articles I do want to touch on just to go into the situation at hand. Because now you're seeing, once again, 3 big banks that are collapsing, which this is one of the main ones right here. And actually go back to see just the articles real quick. Get the news. He also had, Biden pretty much went on stage to pretty much do damage control to dial things down. But Alex keeps going to in 1 Thessalonians 5:3 how things will not go back to normal, and how there's no peace nor safety comes to this place. But let's see. I know there's like over 3, big banks that pretty much collapsed, and now you're starting to see a snowball effect of banks following in suit. 3 banks. Trying to figure out the exact banks that fell, because I know Silicon Valley was one of them. I believe that took place like a day or 2 ago, but now you're starting to see other ones following once again in the suit. And I said, while regulators seized Signature Bank and 3rd biggest bank failure in U.S. history. So on Friday, Signature Bank customers spooked by the sudden collapse of Silicon Valley Bank withdrew more than $10 billion in deposits, a board member told CNBC. Which now you're seeing bank runs, you're seeing people run to their bank, pulling out cash, starting to freak out, which is going to cause more banks to collapse and go under. That run on deposits quickly led to the 3rd largest bank failure in U.S. history. Regulators announced late Sunday that Signature was being taken over to protect its depositors and stability of the U.S. financial system. I think part of what happened was the regulators wanted to send a strong anti-crypto message, said board member and former Congress Barney Frank. So on Friday, Signature Bank customers spooked by the sudden collapse of Silicon Valley withdrew more than $10 billion in deposits, a board told CNBC, which we saw right there. And ultimately what these devils want in order to usher in this, NWO, this beast system, this digital currency, through the MOTB, the RFID chip. But let's go back to the article. I also got another article right here that pretty much is speaking of the other banks that are also suffering, from these collapses that you are seeing from these, other big banks. But now it says, fact box, which companies are affected by SVB collapse, Silicon Valley Bank. We're seeing a lot of other locations being affected, especially, as I mentioned, you see many people panicking and starting to, run to their banks and pulling out as much cash as they can. Hey, this place is crashing, man. On March 13th, the Start Focus lender SVB Financial Group last week became the largest bank to fail since 2008. And it's going to show that, hey, we're near the end. Because you're seeing so many things happening and taking place, dealing with all these plagues, these pestilence, the destruction, the judgment the Lord is bringing out upon this place, and especially things you're seeing now with the banks and all that stuff, man. America's crumbling. The largest bank to fail since 2008 financial crisis, sending shockwaves through global financial system and prompting regulators to step in to contain the fallout. And I've seen a similar ripple effect happening, The collapse also raised concerns that rising interest rates could expose vulnerabilities in the global economy as a decades-long era of cheap money ends. Excuse me. As below is a list of companies across the globe that have their deposits with the bank. North America, companies in the United States disclose over $4 billion in deposits. Roblox, the online gaming firm, says about 5% of its $3 billion cash and securities balance, or about 1.5, or it's like $150 million as February 28 were held with SVB. Roku, which is dealing with the TV, the streaming device makers says its $487 million, or 26% of his cash and cash equivalents held in deposit with SVB. So you see a lot of companies that are also suffering from this. You see a lot of layoffs happening, people losing their jobs, and it's basically crumbling once again. You see many more. So the equities holdings. I see the Canada-based tech firm says it's maintained the U.S. bank accounts with SVB, which amount to $55 million in deposits. App 11 Corp, Astrospace, Coho. So you see tons of companies suffering on this also. Look at that. It's not even speaking on these other little banks also that are suffering under this. So jump to the little bit article right here, because it says after SVB collapsed, bank stocks slide despite government intervention. You had Joe Biden pretty much come on the stage and want to do damage control and try to loosen the blow and pretty much calm the people. But as we mentioned in First Environment 3 and a few others, there's no peace nor safety come to this place, man. This place will not get better. Things will only progressively get worse. And this is who you're putting your faith and trust in right here. Where did the ad finish? Let's get the key update. Signature banks collapse smells trouble for cryptocurrency industry. You also see many people now putting money into silver and gold. Biden Warren blame Trump. So Biden Warren blame Trump. Era loosening of bank regulations for SVB collapse. Dollar loses its value as investors head for other safe havens. All right,
my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them.
Yet you see people not able to pull money out of their bank.
All businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks.
So hey, which one is it? Is it safe or is it not?
Can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests. They've done that. On Friday, the government regulator in charge, the FDIC, took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets. And over the weekend, it took control of Signature Bank's assets. Treasury Secretary Yellen and a team of banking regulators have taken action, immediate action. And here are the highlights. First, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the Deposit Insurance Fund. Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them.
Yet they're not there, so hey, First Citizens Fine with 3 they keep
Queues
mentioning.
Were seen outside a First Republic Bank branch.
Sorry, it's real bit which I believe I saw this video a while
California
back.
on Saturday, with worried customers wanting to withdraw funds after the sudden collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. Startup-focused lender SVB Financial Group on Friday became the largest bank to fail since the 2008 financial crisis. It's worrying some analysts and prominent investors who warned on Saturday that without a resolution by Monday, other banks could come under pressure if people worried about their deposits.
Which you're already seeing now. It's a ripple effect or a snowball effect. When you throw a snowball down the hill, it's only going to get bigger and get worse. Now, so President Biden sought to assure the nation Monday that the banking system is safe, following the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank last week and Signature Bank in New York on Sunday. Now, you've seen a few other banks, following suit. Because one thing you're seeing, people are starting to, panic and kind of uproar and running to to those banks, near to them, and start to kind of withdraw their cash. Want to pull out their money, which I think you saw a similar situation, I believe, a month or two ago. But your deposits will be there when you need them. Biden said from the White House. Most of it is not there when you see a lot of people running to get to their cash and they're not able to. The declaration did little to calm investors' fears. Bank stocks took heavy losses though the main financial indexes rebounded late in the day to finish mostly flat. It's a beautiful sight to see, because America is coming down, man. Things are progressively getting worse. It's just a thing. It's what's what I'm looking for? It's one thing after another. Trying to find the correct term. But the officials had announced that depositors with money at the failed banks will be paid back in full, and he would access the money Monday morning. Biden also said he's asking Congress and regulators to take steps to make similar episodes less likely. But now it's time to scriptures. I don't know if it's a super long lesson. I had a few scriptures that came to mind. Starting real quick. 1 Thessalonians 5:3, as I keep mentioning. As it says, for they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So there's no peace nor safety coming to Babylon the Great. There's no remedy. There's no healing or saving America. There's no rebounding and bouncing back. For America, as people like to think. I can't wait for things to go back to normal. Because people in America are comfortable. They think everything's all fine and dandy, that things are going to go back to normal. That America is finally, going back to the way it once was, when things are only getting worse. And you have these leaders out here, see Biden coming out trying to do damage control. But in reality, it's only going to go downhill. And this is ultimately what they want in order to implement this, this beast system, this digitized currency through this MOTB. You're going to see a lot of people panicking, a lot of people losing their jobs, a lot of layoffs, businesses shutting down, and you're going to see these devils swoop in with a so-called solution to solve their problems, and to be that MOTB. But this is the first Thessalonians 5:3, because this is ultimately what it's all, leading up to. If you have the eyes to see. So when they shall say peace and safety, and sudden destruction come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So there's no escaping these things that Yahweh shall bring upon this place. Now let's get let's put Jeremiah up here. We 2 Ezra 16:21. Kind of out of that point, it said, behold, victuals shall be so good to you upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. When you see people are pretty much in a lofty and comfortable estate, especially when things were starting to stabilize after all the gas prices, the inflation of the food, and all these different things. You saw people panicking, and now once these things start to so-called stabilize, but ultimately right under their nose, it was only getting worse. Behold, victuals shall be so good to you upon earth, they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So literally right under your nose, these things are, picking up and getting worse. Just when you think that things are getting better, that things are going back to normal, it's only getting worse, man. It's, once again, that snowball effect. It's like snowball effect. See anything else? Now we get this, I guess. 2 Ezra 16:22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So a lot of death is going to come to this place, man. A lot of judgment. Now let's jump to Jeremiah 51:8. It's another good scripture. That says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain? If so, be she may be healed. Let's get the NLT version. It said, but suddenly Babylon too has fallen. Weep for her, give her medicine. Perhaps she can yet be healed. But guess what? There is no remedy, nothing that can fix America. These devils are literally on the last legs, and these places come before our very eyes, man. And it's a beautiful sight to see. Going to that, we're nearing the end of the devil's kingdom, man. But you're going to see the implementation of the MOTB very, very soon, as you already see the different apps that you are seeing on your phone and Amazon One, pretty much moving towards that digitized direction, because now you're seeing the fall of these banks. The paper dollars coming, it's just pretty much worthless. You see a lot of other nations pretty much dropping it, wanting to do away with it, and you're slowly going to see this, digitized system, being pushed as you already see now. It's NWO that they want to usher in. Do away with the old and usher in the new. Jeremiah 51:9 said, NLT version said, we would have helped her if we could, but nothing can save her now. Let her go, abandon her, return now to your own land, for her punishment reaches to the heavens. It is so great it cannot be measured. Here's the King James version, and then we'll read the last few scriptures I got. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let's go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reaches into the heaven and lifted up even to the sky. So there's no saving Babylon the Great, and there's nothing that can help America, nor can fix it. There's no quick fix that you can do. No, nothing, man. It's written that America will fall, and we are seeing it, man. Now let's get a few more scriptures, and we'll shut down from there. I guess we get this right here, and then get a few more. The last two. So Ecclesiastes 12:3, as I kind of mentioned, you see a lot of businesses shut down, as you're already seeing tons of layoffs, even before this happened. Now you're going to see even more. People losing their jobs, businesses shutting down. Ecclesiastes 12:3. So in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. Basically going to his workers. A lot of people are going to be losing their jobs once again. And those that look out the windows be darkened, to be, damn ghost town, man. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. As I mentioned, business shutting down, people losing their jobs, and a lot of people are going to be seeking and fiending for a solution to fix their problems, their worries, seeking for anything to pay off the bills of their home, or their house. Esau Edom's going to swoop on the so-called solution to solve those problems. But guess what's going to come at a price? If you know, you know. Ecclesiastes 12:4. Now it says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and it shall rise up to the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. Now let's get to the last two. Ezekiel 7:19. This is the far script right here. So one of the brothers bringing it out. Excuse me. Now let's get the NLT version. That says they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. Because very soon this paper dollar is going to be worthless, man. Because ultimately what they want to usher in is this, this beast system, this digitized currency, man. The CBDC, the central bank digital currency. First, the correct time, I think it's central bank digital currency. CBDC, Slovakia. Yeah, central bank digital currency. Just make sure I had that right. Get that real quick. A central bank digital currency is a digital currency issued by a central bank rather than by a commercial bank. Is also liability of the central bank denominated in a sovereign currency, as in the case with physical banknotes and coins. But let's go back to the main point right here. Now it says they will throw their money in the streets, tossing out like it's worthless trash. What you see in these movies, where you see all hell breaking loose, and you see people using their money, their cash as fire, man, as fuel for fire, to keep it alive, to keep them warm. Very soon, this dollar is going to be worthless, man, as it is now pretty much already, man. As you already seen inflation, shrinkflation, pretty much, paying more for less. Yeah, everything is going downhill, man. And those that want to continue to rely upon Esau, Edom, put your faith and trust in this devil and Babylon the Great, and trust in the shadow of Egypt, that's going to be your shame and your confusion. These devils will not save you nor protect you. They will throw their money in the streets, tossing out like worthless trash. Their silver and gold won't save them on the day of Yahweh Shemashai's anger. Because I believe the scripture also goes into how your riches shall not profit in the day of judgment or the day of wrath, if paraphrasing. I may get that. The silver and gold won't save them on the day of the Lord's anger. It will neither satisfy nor feed them, for their greed can only trip them up. Now let's get the King James. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Which, the modern day, you see the cash today, or the currency is, paper, man. It's not real money. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh Shemashai. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it's the stumbling block of their iniquity. Let's get that scripture real quick. I want to bring out riches, John Prophet. Yes, day of wrath. Proverbs 11:4. Get the King James. That says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. So riches won't help on the day of judgment, but right living can save you from death now. Let's clear out with Isaiah 47:1. Because as we were seeing, America is falling. As we read in the other scripture in Jeremiah 50:51. Isaiah 47:1. So now it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne. Okay, see, America is in this, in this lofty, comfortable estate. Because no one has really, taken out America. No one has dethroned, Babylon the Great, aka America. But very soon she's going to be brought low. Now it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt be nowhere tender and delicate. So it's going to be brought low. As you've already seen, America falling at a fast rate. Sinking down the drain right before our very eyes. But Lord was edifying lesson. I don't make a quick lesson going to, the SVB, let's go back to that. I believe, Silicon Valley Bank. There we go. And now you're seeing a rippling effect. You're seeing a snowball effect of, banks, following suit, starting to collapse, failing. People not able to pull out their money. Now you see Biden pretty much trying to loosen and soften the blow, do damage control, saying everything's all fine and dandy when it's not. When there's peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. So there's destruction coming upon this place, man. And they should say peace and safety. And things ain't getting better. We can for sure tell you that, But Lord's was edifying lesson. Sorry if I kind of rambled a little bit, but Lord's will tie these points together by the best of my ability, and you were edified. But I do want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth, peace and blessings to the whole collective Israel. Shalom, central